Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Do you know which show inspired I Dream of Jeannie? Well, if you said Bewitched, you'd be correct. This fantasy sitcom ran from 1964 to 1972, and TV Guide ranked it as number 50 in the 50 greatest TV shows of all time. It also won 3 Emmys, one for director William Asher, one to Alice Pierce, who played the first Gladys Kravitz, and the other to Marion Lorne, who played the beloved Aunt Clara. As a kid, I always looked forward to the visits of Aunt Clara, not just because she was funny, but because she was also nice to Darren. And you probably recall that Elizabeth Montgomery actually had 2 roles on the show. One obviously as Samantha, and the other as her evil cousin Serena. As sort of an inside joke, on the Serena episodes, they would list her in the credits as Pandora Spox. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The beautiful Linda Evans played Audra on the classic TV Western, The Big Valley. During this time, the 26-year-old starlet was married to the famed director, John Derek, who of course later married Bo. On New Year's Eve in 1968, the couple was in Las Vegas, not just to celebrate the new year, but also because John was hired by Evel Knievel to film his historic Caesar's Palace fountain jump. Although it certainly wasn't historic the way Evel wanted it, as he ended up in the hospital for about a month. No, what made it historic was that it was meticulously caught on film by John Derek and his crew of 1, Linda. Reportedly, Derek had a bad feeling about it and wanted to back out at the last minute, fearing he'd be filming death. But John was obligated. He was to film the side angle, and Linda was on the camera to film the glorious landing. What she captured that fateful day was Evel Knievel's disastrous undershot jump, the epic slow-motion version of which has been viewed by millions over the years. I will say, after watching the slightly disturbing film again, I can see why Linda never followed up on her daredevil filming career, too. It was back to the horse-drawn buggies at the Barclay Ranch. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Keep rollin', 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 though the streams are swollen. Keep them doggies rollin', Rawhide. Better just stick with playing the guitar. But a great TV theme song will stick in your head. And if you recall, it came in pretty handy for the Blues Brothers. Of course, we're talking about the classic western Rawhide, starring Eric Fleming and Clint Eastwood. I'm pretty sure the second guy went on to do a few more things. Rawhide ran for 8 seasons with 217 black and white episodes. This western would at time deal with some very tough subjects. It touched on racism, drug addiction, and even post-Civil War stress syndrome. It could get kind of spooky too, with mysterious stalkers, haunted hills, curses, and of course, ghost towns. But through it all, they kept them doggies, cattle, rolling. And what we got was one of the best classic TV westerns of all time. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Robert Clary is best known as one of classic television's Hogan's Heroes. Amazingly, during World War II, the Jewish Frenchman spent 3 years in a Nazi concentration camp. Robert claimed that although most of his family perished, he most likely survived due to his abilities to entertain through song and dance. After he was liberated, his talents brought him popularity as a vocal recording artist in France and later in America. In the mid-50s, Robert got his first television break on the Colgate Comedy Hour. He had also appeared in Broadway musicals such as New Faces, as well as the feature film The Thief of Damascus. And in 1965, Clary was offered his role as Corporal Louis LeBeau on a new CBS sitcom called Hogans Heroes. That iconic show made 168 episodes for a 6-season run. Continuing his career with more film and TV work, he also made the rounds on some of the daytime soap operas, such as The Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, and The Bold and the Beautiful. Recently, Robert Clary celebrated his 93rd birthday, giving him the distinction of being the longest surviving Hogan's Heroes cast member. And given his past, he is a true survivor indeed. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. What's the secret word? Groucho! You Bet Your Life was a radio show in the 40s, and then it made the jump to television in 1950, where it ran for 11 seasons. And during its run, Groucho had some of the most classic moments in television history. He would lure the contestant into saying something slightly racy, and the audience would come unglued. Then all he had to do was smile, turn towards the audience, and smoke his cigar. But more often than not, he had a hilarious comeback. The comedic value aside, it was a real game show, and people won real money. And now for a bit of spooky trivia. One contestant who won the $10,000 jackpot was named William Peter Blatty. He was an author, and he told Groucho he'd use his winnings to take some time off to work on his novel. And what novel was it? The Exorcist. And here's a little bit more trivia. They actually pay homage to Groucho by mentioning his name in the movie, but I prefer to think of him more in the comedic way. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. It Takes a Thief aired on ABC from 1968 to 1970. It starred television icon Robert Wagner. It also starred dancing and movie icon Fred Astaire. The show was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's movie To Catch a Thief, taken from the English proverb, "It takes a thief to catch a thief." It all begins where this thief had already been caught and was in prison. He was then approached by the Secret Intelligence Agency, and they asked him to steal for the government in exchange for his freedom. Fred Astaire, who played his father, was also a master thief. In the classic intro of the show, he says, "I've heard of stealing from the government, but for the government?" Well, the stage was set for an incredibly entertaining show, and it was enjoyable even for a young 6-year-old. Now here's a bit of fun trivia. Wagner's character, Al Mundy, had an apartment set in the Watergate complex. I think there's something a bit ironic about that.